why not? The Hall of Fame also joined in, noting Westbrook will be eligible as a player for the class of 2029. Congratulations, of course, on a legendary career to one of the best point guards ever. And in the other huge news from yesterday, after just one season as the Lakers' controlling owner, Mark Walter is selling his stake to Josh Kushner and Bob Iger in a record-breaking deal that once again reshapes the future of the purple and gold. New co-owner Bob Iger spoke with California Post reporter Kobe Price yesterday about what's ahead in LA. And he said, quote, "We have enormous respect and appreciation for Jeannie, her father, and what they've contributed to this franchise. And we have every intention to honor the agreement that was made between Mark and Jeannie. If things change, they'll change." Ooh. Okay, but we're going into this with enormous respect and appreciation for who she is and what she represents in this organization. The woman who broke the news of the sale made a lot of us look at our phones and say, is this real? ESPN senior writer Ramona Shelburne. Ramona, what do you make of Bob Iger's quote to the Post?
I think that this was a chaotic day yesterday, and I think Bob Iger is a savvy enough former CEO to know that this is the time that you want to calm people down and say business as usual. He also has known Jeannie Buss for a really long time, and I am sure they'll be talking soon and getting on the same page. But the agreement that he's referring to is the one that has Jeannie Buss as the controlling governor of the Lakers. And so she had that arrangement with Mark Walter. They had a long-standing relationship. Theoretically, she should be the one saying yes and no on trades. But I remember, and then their conversations, Mark said, well, we're not going to disagree very often, right? Let's see if it's one thing to have that with a person that you sold to. It's another thing to hope that the next person honors that. I think that's a nice statement, but there's certainly a hedge in that quote, and we'll see how this evolves over time. Because we're really at the beginning of this. I don't think we can say what that's going to look like in a year or two.
And they might not even know. But there are always ripple effects, right? There are always dominoes. What are the ripple effects of the Blockbuster sale? I mean, less than a year after they were last sold.
Okay, so obviously this affects the Lakers, but it also affects this expansion process because the reason why they pivoted from expansion, it was because the number in Las Vegas was getting so high, upwards of $10 billion. And so this initial process we thought was going to be 6 to 8. It was getting up closer to 10, and that's an incredible number. But the groups that I've heard that are still in it, so one of the big groups has now dropped out. They're not buying the Vegas team. They've bought the Lakers. But there's a lot of teams that are still in this. One is Bill Foley, who owns the Golden Knights, Jerry Colangelo, former owner of the Suns. And then there's Nancy Lowry and Bill Lowry. Those are, they've owned a hockey team there. I think that's one of the teams to watch there, one of the groups to watch there. I've heard there are other groups that are silent, that are not public. In Seattle, I've heard of Samantha Holloway, who owns the Seattle Kraken, but there are other silent partners there. There are the silent groups. And so this bid process is getting very expensive, and maybe more so than we expected. And other ownership level sources that I've talked to have said, if expansion is at this level, how many other owners in the league are looking at their franchise saying, what are we worth?
And what could we make? Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for the groups that don't win the expansion business.
Yep, the Lakers, of course, are one of the crown jewels of the NBA, and the league already has them front and center with 34 national TV games this season. 18 of those games are at home, which is a league high, but they do have 3 separate instances of 5 games in 7 nights, tied for the most of any team. Perk, what's this Lakers season looking like right now on the court as you really look over the roster and take inventory?
Well, I think they're going to have one of the best offensive teams in the league. They still have one of the best offensive players in Luka Doncic. They got enough offensive firepower to win games in the regular season. There's only 4 teams in the Western Conference that I feel like that are better than them on paper. The Nuggets, Spurs, OKC, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Outside of that, they're right in the middle of the pack. But here's the thing. Tim, you know this, the middle of the pack doesn't mean nothing to the Laker fan base. I don't give a damn if it was Jesus Christ owning the Lakers. It would still be the same standard, meaning that it's championship or bust. And so now you start this new era of the official era of Luka Doncic has officially started, and now he's on the clock because the Laker fan base, they're spoiled. You know, they're built on championships.
Yeah, and look, the middle of the pack doesn't mean anything to Luka Doncic either. He's been to the finals. He's gotten a taste of that. That's the standard that he holds himself to. That's the standard he's going to hold the franchise to, and that's why he pushed so hard to go get the big man that he believed would give them a chance to reach those levels. And now, look, they paid a premium for Walker Kessler in money and in draft picks, and he comes into L.A. with some pressure on his shoulders, okay? It's a great situation for a big man getting a run, pick and roll with Luka Doncic, but the pressure comes on the other end of the floor. He better be a top 5 defender in the NBA this season because he is the only good defender in that Lakers starting lineup. It is on Kessler to clean up a whole lot of messes on that end of the floor to give the Lakers a chance to be in a conversation that goes beyond a second-round type of team.
And you said it, Tim, they gave up a lot for Walker Kessler, so we shall see how that pans out.